Well, hi folks, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So today we've got a Morphy Richards radio cassette recorder, SRC-234, and it's in its original packaging. I think you might even see the cable and the instructions are in there, the polystyrene and all of that. I've just gone to fire this up just to see what I'm up against, thinking it might just need a bit of a clean because it is a bit grimy, as you can see. And I thought, oh, I'll just give this a bit of a clean and box it up and probably move it on, to be honest. Anyways, I've plugged it in and it basically doesn't work. So some sort of levels going on and it's popping and crackling, and it may be a capacitor issue, but yeah, you can see it gurgling away. It may just be really dirty contacts. The switches and stuff might need cleaning, but in either event the radio's not working. There is a selector switch on the side which in itself doesn't really do anything, and if I put it on tape, hang on, let's just put a tape in a moment. So I'll just find one here, excuse me. Right, and we'll drop the tape in, press play, and again nothing. Also, it would appear that there's no left channel either, so I'm guessing it could be volume issues, could be pots and stuff like that. So I think what we'll do is we'll crack it open and give it a darn good clean first, and then have a tap about, see if anything else might have actually given up the ghost, see if it needs recapping or if anything else is on its way out. But yeah, I don't know if it's been used very much, to be honest. It doesn't look in terribly bad condition. It's just got a life of its own at the moment and not doing anything it's supposed to be doing. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Right, nothing too fancy with this one today. The battery contacts really are horrible, I have to say. Right, it's the first time that this has been opened, judging by the sound of the screws. So there's one. Yeah, I'm just going to get these screws out now. You just have a quick look, really. I don't think this unit's really worth very much. Right, the top one's longer. Yeah, I remember Morphy Richards used to make, I think, kettles, toasters, trouser presses, all sorts of stuff. Probably teas maids, that was another thing. I'm sure they used to make teas maids as well. Never had one, but always quite fancied one, especially in my advancing years. Right, so how are we looking? Yeah, you can tell by the clicks. I don't think these have been opened before. So this particular unit must date from, judging by the graphics, I'm guessing kind of mid-80s, something like that. Made in Hong Kong. Not expecting the quality to be amazing, but I don't mean to be rude, but the feel of the switches compared, and just the general fit and finish of the components doesn't seem, it's not exactly your 1970s Japanese kit, put it that way. Right, that's pretty much all of them, I think. So what needs to come away? I'm just going to see if we can break. Right, looks like the front's going to come away, so we may have to remove the tuning knob, possibly the sliders. Well, there's one off. Might as well see if we can get the other one while we're at it. There we go. Right, next job. Next job, try and get this away. Let's see what's in here. talk amongst yourselves while I get this open. It's going to be an almighty crack in a minute, I think. Ah, there we go. What's that? Did something move then? There you go. God, this is horrible. Gotta say. Right, there we go. Right, okay. Gosh. What a horrible. Oh, hang on. As I'm doing that, must be some capacitive storage going on in there. As I was doing that, then it was making the LED lights cycle on and off. Right, let's have a look at this a minute. Okay, so we'll just unpick some cables. Right. Okay. Ugh, horrible. Right. Aerial connector is on the board just there. Right, okay. So we've got the headphone board there. Ah, it's a Sanyo chip, isn't it? And a 3361. Belt's still intact. Yeah, they don't look leaky. Might just be glue that's perished. But in any event, let's look at this power supply. That's clearly been damaged, dropped or something, because there were two mounts. Right. So the screws, these should be bonded into the rear case. Don't need redoing afterwards, but anyways. Torch. You can't see what I'm doing at the moment, but I'm trying to get this transformer at least back into more or less where it needs to be. We'll have to rebond all of that later. Right, okay. Changing the belt would be really easy, to be fair. That was never going to be an issue. Right, let's have a look at these. Let's have a look at these switches. Give these switches a clean, I think. Right, so we're on 9 volts. Let's just get some voltage on the board here. Right, can you hear the radio wanting to work? Medium wave, long wave. So, of course, we've got no aerial now. See if we can pick up something else. Well, we've got the volume back. There's some radio. Right, something not very nice is happening, so let's get some cleaner in. Nothing at all in that channel, not a thing. Dirty switch. It stopped as soon as I started cleaning the erase switch. Right, we've also got volume back on the left channel now. Haven't got any radio channels to speak of. Ah, that one there was proper stuck. Yeah, something's not very happy there. Right, let's try these other switches a minute. Let's clean all of these as well. What we'll do next is put the tape on, I think. Put a cassette in. We switch that over to tape, that over to play. Right, we've now got radio, tape, sorry. Good. Stop. Fast forward. Play. Eject. Yeah, so the tape mechanism's working. Yeah, the tape mechanism's working absolutely fine. Well, that's taken a fair old amount of work, I should think, actually. Nothing too clever, to be fair, just cleaning contacts and working them all, left, right and centre, back and forth and all the rest of it. Managed to get the tape playing quite well, actually, to be fair. And everything's just collapsing on the floor now. Let's just put a tape in. So you've got a cassette into there. And oops, that's fast forward, play. No, rewind. We'll get there in a minute. Right, that's play. So we'll get some. There we go. There's your tape. There's your tape. And that's left channel, right channel. So we've got both of those working now. And if we stop that and go to radio, got Bruce Springsteen there, and we'll just go through. There we go. Megan Trainor. So yeah, we've got channels coming in. We've got FM stereo coming back in now. All that horrible squealing that I just had was gone. So I think what it was, I think the tuning capacitor was dirty. I just had to keep working that radio back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Cleaned all the pots. Whoops, it's not very well built, this thing. It's ever so flimsy. Basically cleaned all the pots back and forth. Cleaned all the switches as best as I can. I did wonder if one of the caps had gone in the radio circuit at one point. It was just squealing and hissing and everything, but we've managed to finally get it going just by working it back and forth and back and forth. So I think the tuning cap might have been stuck in place and a bit dirty and probably not the best quality either. We've cleaned all the switches there, and yeah, eventually just got the thing working just by hook and by crook, really. The belt itself is okay. It's the original one. Would I normally replace at this stage? Well, for the sake of one screw on the keeper there, I probably would have done, but to be fair, it's working perfectly well. And this one was literally just you know, I bought it in its sort of, you know, in box, as it were, as a nice little thing just for a bit of posterity. But to be honest with you, it was awful. It's not terribly well built. It's the tape didn't work, the radio didn't work, and I didn't know that when I bought it, to be fair. But anyway, so I'm just going to give it a good clean, and just thought you might like to see the inside of one of these, if nothing else. Also, I've got to remount the transformer because that was loose. I think that might have been something to do with it. I think it's had a drop at some point because the little brass inserts had come out. They need putting back in. The tuning knob is actually, if you hear the creaking noise there, oh, it's awful. It's just not well made. And it's slightly eccentric as well. If you see that gap there, I think it's had a bit of a knock or it's bent or something. But anyway, whatever, it is what it is. It's a cheap and nasty one, this. It's nothing like the well, here's a bunch of stuff we normally work on. We got JVC 550s, we've got M50s, M60s, RCM 70s, we've got, I don't know, 656s, we've got 646s, 545s, all sorts of stuff. We've got Sharp, we've got Hitachi, we've got Iowa, JVC stuff, whatever. So it's all really beautifully made stuff, and this one was just a bit of a throwback from the 80s, and I thought it might just be fun just to have a look at it, but quite frankly it's a bit grim. So anyway, we've seen inside it now, and I think we're probably bored of this, but I am, despite that, I am going to give it a clean just to put it back in the box, and then I'll just pass it on as a prop or a display item or something like that. And the tape, actually, to be fair, it actually sounds really quite good. And you know, it is what it is. But there we go, enough of my jibber jabber, let's get it back together again. So perhaps I have been a little bit mean, if not honest, about this unit. So what I'm going to do is just get these brass ferrules off, put some resin into the receiving holes, if I can see them, just inside there on the casing, so that the transformer can be screwed back in safely and out of the way. We'll also then just go and clean the heads, but I'll do that from inside the cassette door. Normally, as you know, I'd normally be taking all of this out and basically servicing the whole mechanism and doing it then. However, as the mech is running okay and the belt is fine, and this really is just a bit of a polish up and back out the door kind of operation, we'll still clean the heads and stuff, but we'll just do it from inside the cassette. Well, that's the ferrules back in, so I'll just let that resin cure and then we'll get the transformer back in place. Much better. Now we're talking about build quality and serviceability on this particular unit, and a case in point here is I'm trying to reassemble it, and I wanted to do what I would normally do, which is to retrace all the cables back into their cable ways, so for the cable management when we put it back together. But it's so cheaply made with these melted little studs here that they put in, that you can see the pressure I'm having to exert just to try and get these in. Any more than that and I'm going to end up breaking these flimsy wires. So combination of cheap manufacturing methods on there and cheap wires there means that actually this probably isn't going to go back. I'm probably just going to have to tape them in place or hot glue them or something, rather than putting them back the way they came from. So there we go. And still it continues. Every time I try to give this thing a fighting chance, it just bites me. So I was going to clean the evidence of the leaky battery there. That's kind of a job you can do, just needs a decent scrub. And then I thought, well, do you know what, I will hit this this contact and see if I can't clean it up and get it running off batteries and stuff. And then just checking the other side, and transpires that the apart from the corrosion there, this spring has actually snapped, and we'd need to solder in a whole new spring or fabricate something just to even take the batteries anyway. And quite frankly, I think I've wasted way more time on this than it ever deserved. So I'll give it a cursory wipe, and then let's just see what we've got at the end, shall we? So there's one of the rusty cloths I've just used for cleaning this, and sure, it looks a lot, well, on the camera it doesn't look much better. It is in real life, that's staining on the plastic. And I've tried scrubbing the contacts with contact cleaner, which normally at least makes some sort of headway before I try anything else. But this is a full-on resto kind of replacement, or sanding it back, or, you know, chemically derusting it kind of operation. And this one, I'm afraid, just isn't worth it.
Okay, hold on a minute. Yes, I did say I wasn't going to bother doing this, didn't I? But that's just not my way, really. That was really annoying me that it wasn't going to be able to be used from batteries. Now, I know in reality, whoever buys this probably would never really want to take it out much and use it anyway. And if they did, it's certainly not going to be used on picnics and stuff like that. You know, there are far smaller, more portable ways of getting your music these days out and about. And batteries are so expensive as well. This would only really ever be plugged in. But it was one of those things, they were such a mess, they needed to be done. So after I actually finished making the video, I then decided that it was time to replace the contacts, put new springs in and actually get it up and running again. Not the prettiest inside there because the rust does stain the plastic and you can't really get that out very easily. So, but the main thing is, it is working. So there we go, the battery connections are sorted. I don't think I make any further reference to it in this video, but suffice it to say, I couldn't leave that job undone. So there we go. Another thing I like about this unit is how long it takes to clean the cassette door. For some reason, best beknownst to themselves, there's a double shutter version there. These are only false caps, they don't actually come off. But then to get to, you've actually got to get inside of this whole sort of secondary door mechanism just to get in there and clean it. If you see what I mean, it was really grimy just now, and I couldn't clean inside the door, and you actually have to get inside behind that other door to try. Oh dear me, do you know what? I think that'll do. I did say I'd clean the head, didn't I? So let's just do that a minute. To be fair, the best redeeming feature of this was actually how the cassette sounded once it was actually working. Yeah, there's no easy way to get this door off, and I'm not about to take it all apart. I can actually get in here anyway with this. Just about, bit of a swan neck. It's not too bad actually, it's not too dirty. My guess is whoever had this before had nothing but contempt for it and never really used it, so I doubt that's why I think the head isn't dirty. But there we go. Right, so here it is then, the Morphy SRC-234. Now, when I bought this, I thought it had some genuine potential. It was an original 1980s unit in its original packaging with its instructions, polystyrene, and even, would you believe, the power lead here, look, still has the tinned ends. It's never actually had a plug fitted and never been used. So you'd think, yeah, you know, this is going to be all right. But I thought, you know, let's give it a go then. Let's plug it in and see how it actually sounds, only to find it didn't work. The radio didn't work, the tape didn't work, there was absolutely nothing, and no amount of sort of working the switches would loosen anything up. Managed to get them sort of working, got some switch cleaner and what have you inside there and worked the living daylights out of them. Only had one channel, eventually we got another channel. The tape player worked, the radio didn't work. I think there was a dirty tuning capacitor in there, so the radio wasn't even working, so that's now working at least. It was generally filthy, and now we've cleaned the head, we've just checked the mechanism, checked the belt and everything. The transformer mountings were cheap, they were broken, so we've refitted those. Also, there was a small secondary circuit board in there floating around, so we've put that back in place. Generally, the whole thing is just so cheap and nasty and horrible. The switches, I'll show you actually, even the switch caps, they haven't got any kind of, they're not even straight, they're not even level. They've got no nice trims or colour panels or aluminium or stainless trim or anything like that. Everything is just really nasty on it. It just feels so cheap when you want to work on it. I'm amazed. I think even if it spent most of its life in the box, I'm amazed it survived. So anyway, let's see if we can get this thing working, shall we? So I'm actually going to be brave now and try and turn this on. So we now have, right, so let's see what we've got. You can hear that lovely creaking sound. we go. There we go. So the radio's working, and also the FM stereo signal is being received, which is fantastic. I can't play you anything else because of copyright reasons on that. However, I will put a cassette in so we can have a listen to that at least. So we'll put the cassette in and see what happens.
Your new man ain't got nothing on me. New wage, I can make that.
Walking down the street.
Well, I've got to say actually that the cassette tape actually sounds all right. The sound quality, despite everything, really isn't that bad. And it does clean up all right, to be fair. I've just polished the aerial, given it a wipe over. And I guess I was probably just a bit despondent because this thing was broken left, right and centre and didn't work very well at all. So it's just been horrible to work on. It's given me no real reward. And I guess you get what you pay for. So back in the day, when all of a sudden you'd buy stuff that was, you know, heavily featured, you've got your LED lights on there, which look fancy, your little graphics there to show, you know, show something, some sort of equalization or what have you, you know, and the silver front on there looks very nice, but actually it's just horrible, I've got to say. I'll be in no rush to work on any more of these in a hurry, but however, I think perhaps Morphy Richards should have stuck to toasters and kettles perhaps. Now, you may disagree. If you've got fond memories of one of these, then do let me know in the comments. But other than that, I think that's all we'll say on this one. So thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, because I will be back soon with some, dare I say, much nicer, better quality units that we're going to work on. But nonetheless, you know, despite the tongue-in-cheek grumpiness in this video, it's always interesting to see inside one of these, see how it works, see what kind of mechanisms and setups they use. So there we go then. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back soon. So all the best for now. Bye bye.